In this video, we're diving into the stories of 5 potential NBA stars who once seemed destined for long and successful careers, but suddenly faced setbacks that derailed their progress. In 2021, Gary Trent Jr. inked a 3-year, $52 million contract with the Raptors. Fast forward to 2024, and he signed a 1-year deal worth $2.6 million with the Bucks. How does a player go from a $52 million contract to nearly the league minimum? Not long ago, Gary Trent Jr. was viewed as a crucial young asset in the Raptors' plans for the future. He was seen as the perfect shooting guard to complement their rising star, Scottie Barnes. While Trent had the shooting touch, the question remained, could he evolve into a true two-way player? The Raptors hoped he would develop into a 3-and-D player, capable of defending the best perimeter stars. On paper, he appeared to be on track to become a player akin to Buddy Hield or even Klay Thompson. It was somewhat entertaining because those were the players he was compared to on draft night.
Got a mismatch for the tie!
Nevertheless, the Raptors allowed him 3 full seasons to prove himself, and the outcomes were greatly disappointing. Despite being a physically talented and robust shooting guard, he struggled to score at the basket and lacked the ability to drive to the rim. His only strength lied in catch-and-shoot situations, relying heavily on his teammates to create opportunities for him. You might expect him to compensate for this with greater defensive effort. The Raptors envisioned him becoming a player like Klay Thompson, but instead, Trent has gained a reputation as one of the league's most notorious gamblers, often chasing steals to inflate his stats. This tendency frequently left him out of position. When you look at the statistics, a young, high-volume three-point shooter like Trent seemed like a fantastic asset for any team in need of spacing the floor. However, NBA scouting has evolved significantly, and every franchise understands that Gary Trent Jr. is not an effective player. Initially, Bucks fans were thrilled to land a starting shooting guard for just $2.6 million, but they soon realized that he wasn't suited for a starting role and is more of a fringe bench player at this stage. Jared Vanderbilt was a standout player during his time in Minnesota, showcasing exceptional skills as the team's top defender and a relentless rebounder. Standing at 6'8", he averaged 3 offensive rebounds per game in just 25 minutes of play, embodying hustle and effort. Unlike Gary Trent Jr., who merely pretended to possess those qualities, Vanderbilt was a perfect match for the young Timberwolves, fitting seamlessly into their team culture. At just 22 years old, his potential seemed endless. Given the Wolves' defensive strategy, it was clear that Vanderbilt would have thrived in that environment.
Lakers, Vandy, here he goes all the way!
However, in the summer of 2022, he became part of a significant trade package as the Utah Jazz acquired Rudy Gobert. His stint in Utah was largely unremarkable, and after being traded again in the Russell Westbrook deal, he arrived in Los Angeles with significant expectations. He even signed a 4-year, $48 million contract with the Lakers, which was initially perceived as a great deal. Vanderbilt was regarded as a defensive powerhouse and an outstanding rebounder, with an offensive game that was expected to improve as he matured. Unfortunately, this is when things began to unravel. Although he had a solid 2023 season, he faced considerable challenges during the playoffs. His offensive limitations made him an easy player to overlook, as the Nuggets demonstrated by ignoring him on the other end. With no three-point shot or jump shot to speak of, most teams opted not to defend him, leading the Lakers to often play 4 against 5. This was the first indication that his lack of offensive skills was a huge problem, and no amount of energy or effort could rectify that. During the offseason, he focused on improving his three-point shooting, which could have significantly expanded his game. However, instead of making progress, he found himself benched for the 2023-24 season. Following that, he underwent major foot surgery, which has sidelined him indefinitely. His recovery has been slower than anticipated. Even if he manages to recover, it's doubtful he'll be a valuable contributor again. Although Vanderbilt is still quite young, it appears his career may be nearing its end. Transitioning to another player who may have seemed to vanish from the league too quickly, Hassan Whiteside's NBA journey began on a less than stellar note. Drafted in the 2nd round by the Kings, he only appeared in 19 games during his first 2 seasons. The next year, he found himself in the D-League and playing in a Lebanese professional league, casting doubt on his NBA prospects. The following season, he didn't even get a chance to shine in the D-League, instead playing for another Lebanese team and then a Chinese squad. However, after showcasing his skills overseas, his perseverance paid off when he secured a spot with the Miami Heat. It took him 2 seasons to climb the ranks and become the starting center, where he established himself as one of the league's premier defensive players. After 2 seasons in that role, he faced a diminished position in the 2018-19 season due to the rise of Bam Adebayo.
And the lob and the jam, that's the 3rd one they've been able to complete. Miritich and Whiteside blocked it.
Prompting him to leave Miami in the offseason for the Portland Trail Blazers. There, he had a commendable season, leading the league in blocks per game for the second time. Yet he soon found himself on the move again, returning to Sacramento for the 2020-21 season, where his role was significantly reduced. He concluded his career with the Utah Jazz, serving as a backup to Rudy Gobert, averaging 8.2 points, 7.6 rebounds, and 1.6 blocks per game, while achieving a career-high shooting percentage of 65.2% from the field. This is yet another instance of a center excelling in a backup position, but ultimately struggling to secure a spot in the league. In his final season, he finished 8th in the league for blocks per game. I believe he deserved a much better chance in the league. Kevin Porter Jr. stood out among the young players of the Rockets during their rebuilding phase, becoming one of the most controversial figures. On one side, he showcased immense potential, exceeding expectations as the 30th overall pick, and his confidence was evident as he continued to improve. Initially lacking a defined position, he honed his passing and shooting skills over the years, and by the age of 22, he had established himself as a key player alongside Jalen Green and Alperen Şengün. The Rockets even offered him a 4-year, $83 million extension, which he eagerly accepted. However, everything took a drastic turn when Kevin Porter Jr. was arrested for domestic assault. Reports indicated that he had assaulted his girlfriend, resulting in a fractured neck and a significant cut above her eye. The Rockets took decisive action shortly after the allegations against Porter emerged. General Manager Rafael Stone addressed the media, stating that the claims were extremely concerning. He mentioned that as soon as he became aware of the situation, he communicated to Porter's agents that he can no longer be part of the Houston Rockets. They acknowledged this, and since then, Porter has had no involvement with the team. This unexpected and significant decision to part ways with a promising young player who had all-star potential due to serious assault allegations marks a pivotal moment for the NBA, signaling that such behavior will not be tolerated. The NBA has launched an ongoing investigation, and after spending a year playing overseas, he missed an entire NBA season. Upon returning to the Clippers, he has not been able to regain his previous form. Kevin Porter Jr. is a player who thrives on getting more touches to find his rhythm. He isn't someone who can simply step in and perform well right away. Coupled with his attitude problems, which are not unexpected given his history, Porter has shown a stubbornness that has led to multiple confrontations with his coaching staff. His extreme self-confidence has been challenging to manage, especially since he hasn't demonstrated the talent to back it up. I seriously doubt he could regain his status as a productive NBA player, especially with this significant issue hanging over him. Christian Wood is often recognized by Lakers fans as the player who comes off the bench, throws down dunks, attempts three-pointers, and plays minimal defense. However, there was a period when he was viewed as one of the promising big men in the league. During his time in Houston, he consistently posted impressive numbers, averaging 20 points and 10 rebounds, showcasing an offensive skill set that many power forwards could only aspire to. Night after night, he delivered highlight reel plays, demonstrating his remarkable athleticism by either rolling to the basket for a powerful dunk or stepping back to sink three-pointers when needed. Wood proved to be an exceptional three-point shooter for someone of his size. Standing at 6'9" with a 7'3" wingspan, he possessed the length, speed, and talent to establish himself as a dominant big man for years. The most surprising aspect of his journey is that he went undrafted, which is hard to believe considering his impressive performances in Houston. The Rockets released him, and he briefly joined the Mavericks, where it quickly became clear why he was not playing more. The issue wasn't that he was a bad defender, rather he was an awful one. Jason Kidd never wanted him on the team. While his averages might suggest he's a solid player, even during his time in Dallas, where he posted an efficient 16 points and 7 rebounds while shooting well above league average in just 26 minutes per game, there's a reason teams have repeatedly moved on from him. It's not just his defensive flaws, it's also his lack of effort and questionable decision-making that lead to defensive breakdowns when he's on the court. Having a potent offensive presence as a big man is valuable, but being at least a solid defender is essential for earning more playing time. After his time in Dallas, he received no substantial offers from other teams, leading him to accept a 2-year, $5.7 million contract with the Lakers. It didn't take long for everyone to realize why he was overlooked. Fast forward a bit, and after undergoing 2 knee surgeries in just 6 months, there's still no clear timeline for his return. When you factor in his previous attitude issues, combined with his lack of defensive skills and effort, along with the impact of these surgeries on his athleticism, his chances of making a successful comeback are very small.